So let's talk about Sam, who this is only his second appearance, Sam and Gilly, this season. Clearly, it's not like we're spending a ton of time with them, but there would be people who would argue, why are we spending any time with them at this point, right? He left the wall. We got big, we are clearly heading towards the end in a way we never have on this show, where it's like everything matters, and the show's moving at such an accelerated rate. So why are we even pausing to spend time with Sam, even though we did meet another awful, awful father on Game of Thrones.
Oh my God.
In that situation, which clearly made, I already felt Sam was a sympathetic character, but even more, you're like, oh man, this is what he comes from. But do you think that there's still going to be importance to Sam's storyline that will factor in, given the time we're spending here with him?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's like the one character who's not a jerk. So we
Right.
need that. He's like one of a couple characters who are like genuinely likable and endearing characters in the show. Not everyone needs to be like a super assassin and like a badass, you
Right.
know? Like some people get caught up in these like fantasy tropes, and because he doesn't fit into any of the cool ones that they're like, why are we wasting time on this? It's like, no, the show is about like different kinds of characters and like overcoming these like unique struggles, and he definitely has an interesting struggle of, pretty much brought the worst thing home possible to make his father. Although when his father found out, I thought he was pretty reasonable. He's like, what? And he started calling Gilly like an it and everything.
Yeah.
And then he was like, fine, she could stay here and I'll give her a job. And I was like, that's actually not bad, all things considered. He
Right,
could have killed her. That's where I thought it was going.
Right. I will. That scene was interesting because Sam, he still couldn't speak up for her while they were all still there. It's like he never, you wondered if that's where the scene was going, as far as his dad is calling her an it and a whore and all this sort of stuff. Would he say, you can't talk to her like that, while she and the family are sitting there? But he doesn't. But I thought that was realistic, as far as like Sam has grown as a character and he's gotten stronger as a character. But when he goes back home for the first time ever since he was cast off, he's still kind of like the cowering little boy. Obviously, this was his life, his entire life. So I liked, even though, of course, it makes it some audience members like, you wimp, but it's like, I get it, But then he still, of course, makes this decision that they're going to leave, and he's going to leave with something very important,
Yes.
which is that sword. And Valyrian steel and those swords. It's not. I don't think the show has quite spent as much time reinforcing their importance as the books have, but they're still pretty important.
Yeah, I feel like if you spend too much time on this show kind of talking about how cool these magic like dragon swords are,
Yeah.
that it goes a little too into like deep fantasy that the show has long tried to avoid.
Yeah.
Although now it's like just barreling headfirst into all of it.
Right.
So I think it's fine. I think it's understood that these things kill White Walkers. And while they didn't talk about it a lot throughout the show, they definitely showed the power of it with
Yeah.
Jon like shattering that guy.
Yeah.
So I think we know what they do and how important they are, because every time you see one, you're like, okay, that's going to be important later. We're going to need that. So I feel like it's cool that he has one. I don't know his ultimate purpose. I don't see him, Sam the Slayer, returning anytime soon of him. But I see him giving that sword to someone who can put it to good use. And I don't know if it'll be as simple as him going back to the wall, because Jon won't even be there by the time
Right.
he goes back, assumedly, because Jon wants to move on and he wants to go to Winterfell and stuff. So I feel like Sam, he'll actually take a different path and wind up somewhere we didn't expect him, and his knowledge and expertise of knowing all about the White Walkers firsthand and what can defeat them, that will be very valuable to like someone else, like a Littlefinger or something like that.
I agree with you. I think he'll probably end up teaming with someone we have never seen him with before.
Yeah.
And the fact that he has that sword, again, it's like Sam, he was able to kill a White Walker, but he's not suddenly expert swordsman, but he has that sword. And there are certainly people out there who could use it. I do like, and this is a complete non-Game of Thrones moment, but I do like the idea of him throwing the sword in slow motion to Jon, who catches it, now has two Valyrian steel swords. And just starts like mowing down White Walkers left and right. I just thought about how Sam is sort of the Neville Longbottom of this series.
Yeah, and Neville did get that great moment.
Neville did get that great
well,
moment.
Sam actually already had that. So yeah,
Right,
this would be a
right.
cool kind of the Sword of the Morning Part 2. And he's like,
Or maybe Sam will have two Valyrian swords. Jon throws him the other one. That'd be amazing. He gets like a 10-minute.
it's like this Darth Maul scene, like
including the flips. Yeah, that's the final scene of the show. It's like the most choreographed scene ever. But yeah, so I guess, I think we both agree, though, that Sam is going to be important, and the sword alone, but also I think where he goes with it is going to end up playing a big role end game of this
Yeah.
of this show.